Yeah. Well, I want to talk about Ralph Lauren.
Oh,
I know
okay.
we mentioned him before, but I know, me being from the East Coast, originally from Virginia, living in New York, I have a very strong understanding of the lowlifes and their reinterpretation of Ralph Lauren. But we were talking about in LA, it was a whole different reinterpretation that was happening in parallel.
Well, okay, so the lowlives is Brooklyn.
Yes.
And that's their interpretation. And Ralph Lauren in New York was trendy for just like an average, you're trendy, it's hot, you do it. That was Brooklyn. But, there was a polo movement in Atlanta, well, in Florida for starters. Go look at the Doodoo Brown video. All they have on is polo. I mean, it's hot. So Miami, Atlanta, Philadelphia, especially DC, this is 80s, mid 80s, New Balance, Polo, Benetton. This is what was going on. Chicago, the Darians, Reggie No, Twilight Tone, Rob, all those guys in Chicago. However, in LA, we were not influenced at all by the lowlives.
Yeah, what was the difference?
We're influenced by skate culture, the beach, hip hop. It's LA, it's West Coast. We've mixed it up, but we were also influenced by people like David Arnold, who's Taz's father, who was just, dandy. I bring him on the board. He really was my mentor in terms of dressing, him and Rodney Taylor, who was one of my friends. He was only 3 years older, but back then it was a big difference when you're in high school. But the point is, the difference was we were dandies, but we wore Ralph Lauren. So we were very serious and intentional on how we did it. It was very refined. You could have a logo, you might not have on a logo. It didn't really matter. And it was like we were taking it to the next level in terms of, okay, this is the box and this is what it was created for, but this is how we're pairing this and this is how we're styling it. Brooklyn, I love what they was doing. When I saw the pictures eventually and Reggie showing the scrapbooks and he met Thurston and they're trading pictures, I said, damn, this is literally a gang. We were a smaller gang and we were doing what we were doing, but it was a clear difference based on influence, based on what we were fed. Like I said, whether it was the lowlives or Chicago or what they were doing in Atlanta, that's how Farnsworth Bentley worked at Ralph Lauren, whether it was that or DC, hip hop created that culture of Ralph Lauren, the P-Wing, the this. It was called Stadium, we called it the P-Wing. This stuff didn't exist, so much so to the point to where Ralph didn't address it. What Ralph did was gave us Tyson. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh wow, this is interesting.
Tyson Beckford.
Right, Tyson Beckford. So they were very smart, and Naomi Campbell, because she was, for the women in a lot of those. So he was very smart in that way. And then now, fast forward into the 2020s, we see James Dieter's the creative director.
Yes.
And we see what he's doing with these Morehouse Spelman collaborations.